Hello, 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 hello. How's everybody doing? Welcome to today's show. It is February 13th, 2025, and I'm so glad to see you. We have a pretty good show for you today, so let's get straight to it and start chopping through it. First on the list is going to be the USA aid or US aid. It's people call it you said, us said, U.S. aid expose. And right out of the bat, we have an exposure of good old Chelsea Clinton. And with Chelsea Clinton, she received a pretty sizable sum of money. As it was, they say it was from or for the Clintons, but it was about $84 million received. And as you can see here, one second. Let me get it right. Right here, she received just shy of $84 million from the federal government, and it's very perplexing because Chelsea Clinton happens to be on a certain board here, and that board happens to be um this one right here, which is the board of directors for a company called Common Sense. And what they do within Common Sense Media is they teach people how to speak online and be good digital citizens. And what they also do is they work on controlling what uh, is seen as misinformation. They essentially control what you and I can see, or what the federal government, or even what they would deem to be misinformation. And the problem with that is when you look at the Rand Paul Festivus report, which I have here, you see at the very top that $330,000 was spent on silencing the voice of conservative users. Um, and then they went a little bit further in this Festivus report and showed how they would spend money on certain content creators. They would have parties and little get-togethers and boosting up social media influencers. And I'm willing to bet that good old Chelsea Clinton had her hand in this particular situation here, where she essentially helped control what you and I could see and what you and I would know, and even maybe even paid some social media influencers to be able to, say what they want to say and do what they want to do. Uh, and personally, I think that's a major problem in the United States, because we are supposed to have the freedom of speech, freedom to say what we want to say and not really have to worry about being censored. Not You have freedom of speech, not freedom of what do you call it? Freedom of speech, but not freedom of consequences. So the problem here lies is that the federal government is funding organizations and groups and people to silence a particular voice. And it's not even something that they're trying to hide anymore. They're blatantly trying to silence these voices by paying people and then paying influencers that are in opposition of those people. So maybe us as a conservative group of individuals need to take a deeper look and pursue certain legal actions against them. Next up, we have the Lutheran Social Services. The Lutheran Social Services is a group that is ran by the Lutheran Church. They take in kids and help them find families, foster and adoption. But the problem with that is the federal government has been giving these people billions of dollars. And in my mind, I would say, what happened to church, separation of church and state? Because that's what the left always screams: separation of church and state, separation of church and state, when it is something that goes against their narrative. But in this particular situation, we see that these people are receiving sizable sums of money, an overly sizable sum of money, over and over and over and over again. And as you can see through these different screenshots here, this is not something that is good, because the federal government should not be receiving, or the churches or organizations should not be receiving money from the federal government. And here is a longer list of money they've received in different locations. And these are all Lutheran social services, some in Arizona, some in Minnesota, some in DC, some in South Carolina, and so forth, where they just continue to be all over the place, effectively be all over the place. So the problem herein lies, the problem herein lies where we are told one thing and shown another thing. And we really have to be able to get a handle on this some way, shape, or form from our federal government. And it's good that we're getting this transparency, that we're getting this accountability, that hopefully these people will be held accountable ultimately. But I think it's us that's going to have to be able to do it. But if there's going to be separation of church and state, we need to hammer down on any organization receiving sizable funds, no matter what good it does. But I really am curious where Trump found all those kids. Maybe this is some food for thought for you, that all of a sudden Doge steps in, starts revealing things, and all of a sudden Trump finds thousands and thousands and thousands of children. And we know that through CPS and other organizations like foster care, kids are trafficked. So I wonder where Trump found those kids. It's just something to think about. Next up, we have protecting the Second Amendment. This is a program from Trump, an EO from Trump that he wanted to put forth to actually go after things that are in our federal government that seem to be unconstitutional. We have a major issue in our country where our rights are being stepped on and trounced, but there has to be some type of accountability. Ultimately, this whole live segment is going to be about accountability, because there's going to be a lot of things exposed throughout this, but there's been no accountability for anyone or anything. But this executive order 42A, we have to know whether it's going to be good or bad. And if it is good, did he go back far enough? So looking into this EO, the president orders an assessment of potential infringements on the Second Amendment rights. And in this EO, he emphasizes its importance on security and liberty. Trump's not a man of verbose with big words. He just says big things. And in this EO, you further get a surmisation of how Trump wants this to work. He wants the Attorney General to instruct certain organizations to have reviews from January 2021 all the way to January 2025. And this is where, in my opinion, I don't believe we go back far enough as far as the years go. I think we need to go back as far as the first gun law created. There's over 2,500 gun regulations in the federal government alone. So I think we need to go back further in this to be able to really make change to where we can have a true 2A in this sense. The Attorney General is also going to look at how or if these rights have been compromised, and then he will propose a plan to Trump on how to fix this. This also includes examining regulations, litigation positions on possessions and firearm classifications. And as you've seen over the years, the major issue we've had with gun rights or gun laws, whether they're red flag or blatant in your face, whatever, these laws, if you want to call them that, really they're infringements, are really going after things such as classification. We have the AR-15, for example, the most deadliest weapon on the planet. Ooh, but in all actuality, it's a 22. It's no more dangerous than a 22 handgun. And in fact, majority of the things committed crime-wise are from handguns. So we need to make sure that in this EO it does not have a loophole for these organizations or even the government to go later and twist things to where they can further step on our rights. It's just really, really a major issue, and I'm really watching this and how this unfolds for the future. It further goes on to say, once the plan is submitted, the Attorney General will then go back and collaborate with the domestic policy advisors for implementation on these orders and how to handle this without really making a big splash or a big to-do about it. And I think this is a good thing. Ultimately, I would like to see the gun laws go away, but we will see how this goes in the future. Who knows? But next up, Kanye West. Kanye West last week destroyed the internet. They always say it's Beyonce's internet. It was definitely Kanye's West internet for at least 2 days. He started off with being a Nazi. But what is he, or was he rather, trying to say in those tweets? Because it seemed to be that he would say really crazy, outrageous things to draw you in, and then once you were in, he would drop some truth bombs on you. So he used shock and awe to get your attention, and then gave you some real information. So was he trying to convey stuff? Is he crazy? Who knows? But then he, going through these tweets, as you can see here, he said some other funny stuff, but this stuff was not just funny, it was real. It hit home for a lot of people, and a lot of people felt it in a certain place, and they got offended. So ultimately, he sends himself off with a bang, literally, by posting pornography, and not just any pornography. He posted furry pornography, of all things. Furry pornography, but it's Kanye. What can you do? Next on the list is the tariffs. The tariffs. Everybody likes to talk about tariffs. Nobody knows what they mean, not what they do, but the tariffs. We see here that Trump imposed these tariffs, and he stuck to them. And a lot of Americans were afraid. Oh, they're going to take this. They're going to take that. It's going to cost this. It's going to cost that. First and foremost, we're already through the roof on cost of a lot of products and things, whether you like to think about it or not. But it's true. And a lot of people thought that this tariff game was going to hurt America. But through and through, we've seen countries fold. Like Mexico. They immediately, they got up on the horn and said, we're going to fight back. And then an hour to a day later, they turned around and put their tail between their legs and kowtowed to what Trump wanted. And then Canada did the same thing. Oh, we're going to fight back. And you followed Mexico's lead because you're not stupid. Well, maybe Canada might be stupid, but we didn't just see this situation with Trump doing it to Canada and Mexico, which are our biggest importers. We saw him do this to Panama. We saw him do this to Colombia. And we're seeing him do this to China. And what it ultimately is, take the tariffs away. What this ultimately is it's a trade war. And ever since 2012, America has been losing the trade war. China has taken more and more space in the trade arena, and America has taken less space, of course. I feel like I sound like Kamala Harris. Russia is a big country. Ukraine is a small country. But in lieu of what I'm saying, we are losing the trade war where we're just solely becoming a country of consumption. And this is extremely problematic overall, because what it then sets a precedence for is for us to be at the beck and call of other countries and not the other way around. And then they would have a bargaining chip to hold over our head. Now, however, if you are like Mexico and Canada, where 76% of their total imports from them to us, and we are a total of 77%, I believe, of Canada's total imports, they need us more than we need them. But this game is very dangerous right now until we can get a grasp on it, because playing with China they could actually cause real issues in the long run for us because they've won so much territory in the trade arena. So we have to keep an eye out for that. But so far, so good. Trump is just doing exactly what he needs to do. I don't know if any of you have ever read the book Art of the Deal. The man is a mastermind when it comes to making proper deals to benefit himself, his companies, or the United States of America. And we're seeing it go off flawlessly right now. Hopefully, he can continue this record of 4-0 that he has against these countries, and we push into a new era for the United States of America, and we can stop listening to people cry about tariffs. I am so sick and tired of hearing about tariffs. I dream about them. This is how bad it is. But next up, planes. We had a bang start to the year. Really, it was a bang because the bomb blew up at Trump Towers in Las Vegas. But it has continued. It's continued to be explosive, no pun intended, in America. We have had this consistent week after week, day after day, in your face, boom, 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 and it's a little bit jarring to the mind. But we had the DC plane crash where they originally said 60 people, but here you see 55 victims were recovered, so that means they lost 5 people where they were not able to recover them. And then we move right into from that to the Philadelphia plane crash, where this thing looked like a freaking missile coming out of the sky. And I'm sure you've seen all of the videos. It was shocking, but that's not where it stops. It continues and goes on and on and on. We have multiple situations of planes either crashing on the ground or crashing in the air, and it just continues, as you can see here. And it just seems like it's not going to stop. And ultimately, I feel like we get desensitized by this. And that is problematic because we should never be desensitized to lives being lost or major things happening, but it's consistently in our face every single day. And ultimately, we will be desensitized to this overall. And I don't know how to change it besides praying. That's my go-to thing is prayer. And we as a nation need to continue to pray because things ain't getting much better anytime soon, so it seems. But going right in, keeping it chugging along, Doge. Doge is exposing everybody and their mom, and I don't think I have the screenshot set for this yet. Give me 1 second here, and I'll grab them for you. Let's see. Nah, we'll do it without screenshots. It's whatever. So FEMA, where did the money go for the U.S.? They've been exposed by Doge, where all the money they've lost or didn't have has been found, and it's not where it was supposed to be. It's not where they said it was, and Doge is doing a very good job at holding the hand to the fire as far as exposing these people. And as some people always say, a hit dog hollers, and we see a lot in the United States hollering right now because they're moving right on to NASA. They're not stopping. They're bullying through everyone, every organization, every 3-letter. I guess you could call these places waste of money now. They're not even really government entities. They're wasteful spending, really, is what it boils down to. And Doge is pushing right through them, right, left and right. And NASA's been uncovered. And they're not uncovering new life on another planet. They're uncovering money grabs. NASA spent almost $500,000 on subscriptions to Politico and other media outlets. Why is NASA spending money in an area that has nothing to do with space exploration? It makes no sense to me. And this is why I believe wholeheartedly that it is a money grab on their part, because they're really just wasting money. It's wasteful spending, and NASA receives roughly $65 million a day. Some say 83 million with other entities pouring into them, but it's roughly about $65 million a day of taxpayer money not a year, not a month, a day of taxpayer money that goes into NASA. And they're spending, which doesn't seem a lot in the grand scheme of things, $500,000 on subscriptions. When some of us can't even pay our Netflix and Hulu and our Google or Prime or Apple Pay. Like, we can't even afford our subscriptions, but they're taking our taxpayer money and spending it on crap that really doesn't amount to a hill of beans other than disseminating information, because 500,000 of it went to Politico. So that I find that very perplexing that no one's talking about this, no one's going after this, and it keeps getting worse because NOAA, NOAA, is on the take as well. They're supposed to be looking for storms, and they're over here paying DEI hires in a DEI section that is specifically meant to hire certain people. And they're wasting tons and tons of money. And they've removed that whole source page from their website that you can't go find it anywhere. But the internet's forever. People grab screenshots, and the screenshots are out there. If you want to see them, I have them, and I can place them in my server later for you if you want to see them. But the stuff is out there for you to see. And the fact that they're getting caught and removing stuff from websites proves without a shadow of doubt that they are doing things they shouldn't do, because a innocent person does not hide. An innocent person stands before the crowd and tells everybody what it is, and then the evidence from the investigation proves what they're saying. It proves what they're saying. So either these people need to be honest or just face the Pied Piper. And it continues to get worse because Doge goes right on in. And I'm telling you, dude, it's like the Kool-Aid man. They're jumping through wall after wall after wall after wall after wall of organizations and exposing them because the National Weather Service. Yep. National Weather Service is spending money on crap they ain't supposed to be spending money on. And Doge is like, oh, okay, well, you're catching it too. And what's crazy is now people have taken an initiative. Those that are, with it up top are taking an initiative to go search out themselves. And you have all these people, independent people, finding information that Doge hasn't even found yet, because all they're doing is crawling the internet and pulling this information together and making it available for people. And it's really, really sad to see how we in America, man, are spending money. Trillions of American tax dollars up in smoke. For what? And then we look at the U.S. aid. They created a program in colleges around the country that would help foster kids that were interested, that applied and were accepted, their future into federal work. This is where your girl AOC came from. Nobody knew where she came from. Nobody knew how she campaigned or got the money for campaigning. And she just came out of nowhere and not, with little to no backstory. As far as I'm concerned, I never saw any campaigning. I never saw any, going out canvassing her area. None of that. She just poof into existence and poof into office. And the problem with this, I've had conversations and discussions with people. They said, well, what's wrong with a program actually getting normal, regular people into politics? The problem is I can't tell what that program's doing. I don't know what they're saying behind closed doors. All I know is that they're taking taxpayer money to do it, when in all actuality, campaigning is supposed to be donation-based. So there's fraud on all sides here, because I don't know if they're grooming these kids and cultivating these kids to be whatever they want them to be. And it doesn't matter Republican or Democrat or whatever political affiliation these people have. I don't care. I don't want it to happen, because I want to vote for a candidate that I know, that I can trust and know of, because they've been campaigning, not someone that, threw a handstand while doing a kegger. It no one cares about that, and they just overlook her indiscretions before her political career and taunts everyone that is Trump and Trump picks for what they've done prior to their career in politics. So we need to shut that down. This needs to go away. And I seen where Trump earlier this week took letters off of the building of the USAID building, and they're being defunded, which is a good thing, because that's billions and billions and billions of US dollars going down the drain for what? The stuff is crazy. But we're going to fly from the United States over to South Africa, because Trump is going off. And I do want to put this up here for you so you can see it here, because he made a truth on Truth Social where he talks about the South Africans. And there's buzz all around the internet for this particular topic, because people are in their feelings about it. They're definitely in their feelings about it, because they think that Trump is a racist already, because that's the narrative. But it says South Africa is confiscating land and treating certain classes of people very badly. It is a bad situation that the radical left media doesn't want so much as mention. A massive human rights violation, a minimum, is happening for all to see. The United States won't stand for it. We will act. Also, I will be cutting off all future funding to South Africa until a full investigation of this situation has been completed. The man is the GOAT. He is the GOAT. He sees an issue, he takes action. He doesn't wait. He doesn't give more money to the area. He figures out what's going on, so we can put a pin in it and call it done. Check it off the list, so to speak. But currently in South Africa, what's happening is the black people, I guess you could call them, since we're in America, are taking a stand against the white people and preventing them to get land and, mistreating them. What some in America would call reverse racism. It's hatred. Hatred is hatred is hatred is hatred. We're not going to play these games of he said, she said, racism, point fingers back and forth. That's stupid. So Trump is also providing these people a way to come here that have been mistreated, that essentially refugee status. Now, all of a sudden, because it's Trump doing this from South Africa and they're lightly melanated individuals, it's a bad problem. Trump is racist because he wants more whites in the United States, as they've said on Twitter and in other spaces. Are we dumb in the United States? Did you not see all of the refugees and the asylum seekers from Ukraine? They're what you call white or Albion European or lightly melanated. Those people are not black or people of color. It's perplexing because Democrats can bring all the people they want over here. Obama bought 184,000 Somalians over here, and they turned up and knucked if you buck as soon as they got here. And probably why Ilhan, I marry my brother Omar, is going to be taken out of this country too, because she lied. But it's only bad when Donald J. Trump or the Republicans or right-leaning people do it. It's never bad when the Democrats do it. And there's real reason for why these people are being brought over here. No one knows what's going on in Ukraine. We really don't. All we can receive are pictures. We can't receive video. We don't know what's going on. We have valuable, important people in the United States flying to Ukraine for what? It's a war-torn country. Why or how are we able to fly there if it's a war-torn country? But I digress on that. Trump, still on Trump here. Trump is firing everyone. If you're useless, get out. This is what I've desired for a long time: small government. If you're a libertarian or a true conservative, and I emphasize true conservative, You do not want big government. You want the least amount of government as possible. And Trump is firing everybody. And not just everybody, but he's firing people that's not on his side too. And that's causing the liberals to froth at the mouth like a pit bull and heat that sees a piece of meat. These people have lost their ever-loving cotton-picking minds. They're going off the deep end because of what he is doing. And I think this is good. One, it downsizes the government. Two, who would ever want people that had it out for you? Trump has a target on his back, and these people are gunning for him. They're gunning for his position. The man wasn't even in office 2 days, and they were already trying to bring articles of impeachment against him, and he hadn't even done anything. Nothing, no impeachable offense. So it's part of the course. It's part of the show. It's political theater, and the liberals play into it better than anyone else I know. But there are some radicalized Republicans that do as well, but the liberals do it better than anybody else. So who knows? Going on into this, what happened to the investigation in Las Vegas with the bombing, and what happened to the investigation in Louisiana on the New Year's massacre? I'm not seeing anything. I'm not hearing anything. Effectively, no one knows anything. What is going on? Did they just stop because it's pointless? I understand why Trump is probably not pursuing it heavily. It's because he's got more important things on his hands. But I personally would love to know what's going on and get more information on it. I'm not seeing much on the internet at all about it in particular. So that is the show for today, ladies and gentlemen. And I definitely appreciate you guys for showing up. I'm going to start trying to end every show with a Bible verse. And today's Bible verse is Matthew 5:14 through 16. And it says, "You are the light of the world, a city that sits on an hill that cannot be hid. Neither do men light a candle and put it under a basket, because it's stupid. But on a candlestick and gives light unto all that are in the house. Let your light shine before men that may not see, or that they may see, and your good works and glorify the Father for which is in heaven." So it in closing, don't get stuck letting your light be put out by the evil that's around you. Don't let someone snuff your light out and make you feel like you're crazy and make you feel like you don't know what you're doing or what you're talking about. If you're speaking truth, that's a bright light. Let it shine. It's just something that we need in America more now than ever, as darkness continues to entrench and engross the United States of America. But I do have one more thing for you. A little bit of conspiracy before we really shut it down. Is Elon actually a good guy? I know there's a lot of people that get mad at me about talking about Elon Musk in not a good light. Is he actually a good guy? Is Musk the hero or the anti-hero? Is America in such a desperate need for a hero that they don't see a potential threat? And that is my opinion. That is my opinion. I don't want people to jump on me and say, "Oh, you're anti-America because Musk is doing so good." I've seen a lot of people do a lot of good things. This man could have ulterior motives, and I know for a fact that the road to hell is paved with great intentions. But really and truly, is he for the benefit of America, or is he for the benefit of himself? That's some food for thought, and that is my conspiracy theory. Make sure you aren't one of the ones that can't see the forest for the trees. And